Good morning, student. Today we'll learn a very important and interesting condition called megaloblastic anemia. This condition is very important for a clinician because sometimes we miss the diagnosis of this condition and we just manage the anemia with iron tablets. Second, this is also important for the academics because from this topic, the SAQ and MEQ question can come in your exam. So let us discuss about the megaloblastic anemia. So what we are going to discuss in today's presentation? We will first define what is megaloblastic anemia, then we'll discuss about the causes, clinical manifestation, laboratory workup and treatment of megaloblastic anemia in today's presentation. So what we are discussing today, so if you get any patient with anemia, after doing the CBC and reticulocyte count, we just calculate the reticulocyte production index. If it is less than 2.5, we'll see the RBC morphology. We'll divide it into normocytic, normochromic, and micro or macrocytic type. So today what we are going to discuss is a type of the macrocytic anemia. It is one of the maturation disorder where there is a problem in the nucleus of the cell. Okay, so this is the area of what we are going to discuss today. Okay, so what is megaloblastic anemia? So megalo means the large, blast means definitely a precursor cells, and anemia, I think you people know. So to define the megaloblastic anemia, it is the presence of anemia with the large RBC precursor in the bone marrow. As you know, the blast is the precursor cells and that we get in the bone marrow. So if there is a RBC precursors in the bone marrow and concomitantly if there's a presence of anemia, the condition is called megaloblastic anemia. So what are the causes of this megaloblastic anemia? The causes of megaloblastic anemia, the main causes are cobalamin deficiency, popularly known as vitamin B12. The second one is folate deficiency, because these vitamins are required for the synthesis of the DNA molecules. That's why deficiency of this vitamin causes the megaloblastic anemia. So treatment with the different anti-folate drugs like methotrexate can also cause the megaloblastic anemia. But in our day-to-day clinical practice, if you see a patient with megaloblastic anemia, most of the time it's because of vitamin B12. So let us see from where the vitamin B12 get observed in our body. So we take the vitamin B12 from the foods like different meat products or animal products. So these vitamin B12 get observed or got attached with the heptacorins in the salivary secretions. These heptacorins and vitamin B12 complex comes to the gastric cavity and ultimately to the duodenum. Due to the effect of the enzymes produced by the pancreas, that is pancreatic proteases, this heptacorin and the vitamin B12 get detached in the duodenum. This vitamin B12 at the level of duodenum attached with another molecule that is called intrinsic factors over here, intrinsic factors over here. And you people know the intrinsic factors are produced by the palatal cells of the stomach. So vitamin B12 and intrinsic factors ultimately goes to the terminal ileum where there is a receptor for intrinsic factors. The name of the receptor is cuvilin, from where these complex get observed in the circulations. So what are the factors that is required for the vitamin B12 absorption is the food source, usually meat product or animal products. Second one is the intrinsic factors. Third one is the terminal idiom from where the vitamin B12 get absorbed. That's why if someone has the vitamin B12 deficiency, then you have to think about the food sources, whether the patient is not taking the vitamin B12 or not. Then we have to also think about the intrinsic factors. The conditions where the intrinsic factor can be deficient is the pernicious anemia. We have to also think about the disease of the terminal ileum if someone has the vitamin B12 deficiency. Okay, so what are the causes of this vitamin B12 and the folic acid deficiency? The vitamin B12 deficiency you will get in a patient with vegans, like someone who is not taking any animal products, vegans. We often ask, do you take the meat product, fish product, or milk? If we suspect anybody is having the megaloblastic anemia. Definitely, if someone is taking the meat animal product, then we have to think about the pernicious anemia if someone is having the vitamin B12 deficiency. These two conditions, the post-surgical conditions, after total or partial gastrectomy for a different reason, for the malignancy or some bariatric surgery, people can have the vitamin B12 deficiency. Similarly, folate deficiency can occur because of dietary insufficiency, in the malabsorption, in the pregnancy. If someone is taking the antifolate drugs, if someone is having the chronic hemolytic anemia, if someone is having hemodialysis. Okay, we can understand up to the intake of the antifolate drugs, but if someone is having chronic hemolytic anemia, they require more amount of folic acid because there is the RBC is active, there is more proliferation of the RBCs. But if you are not supplying the folate, then they can have the folate deficiency. Folate is a dialysable substance. If someone is doing the hemodialysis, then they can have the folate deficiency and they can have this megaloblastic anemia. That is what you need to understand about the causes of the deficiency of these two molecules. Then what is the store of the vitamin B12 and folic acid in our body? So normal storage of the vitamin B12 is 2 to 3 mg. If we convert into the microgram, it's 2000 to 3000 microgram in our body that get stored in the liver. And the daily requirement is 1 to 3 microgram. Let's suppose on an average 2 microgram. If you have a store of 2000 microgram, and if you are taking only 2 microgram daily, or if you are not taking any vitamin B12, then 2000 microgram divided by 2 became 1000 days. Okay, because 1000 days, that's near about 3 to 4 years. So if you are not taking any vitamin B12, then the body store of our body, vitamin B store of our body is sufficient enough for 3 to 4 years. So that is what you need to understand. So you are not going to have vitamin B12 deficiency if you are not taking the animal product for 6 months or 12 months. You need to have the vegan diet for at least 3 and 4 years. Only then you will develop a vitamin B12 deficiency. Similarly, for the folic acid, total stored in our body is 10 mg, that is near about 10,000 microgram, and daily requirement is 100 microgram. If you divide 10,000 by 100, then it becomes 100 days is near about 3 to 4 months. The folic acid storage in our body is sufficient enough for only 3 to 4 months. That's why if we can have folic acid deficiency if we are not taking the proper folic acid in our food. What are the dietary sources? The dietary source of vitamin B12 is fish, meat, egg, and milk products. These are the dietary source of the vitamin B12. All are the animal products. But the folic acid you can get into the different vegetables and the fruit, like you can get in the green leafy vegetables, papaya, tomato. I'm seeing the banana, mangoes, cabbage. You can get the folic acid. So the people who are vegans, they get the vitamin B12 vitamin B12 deficiency, but they are not deficient of the folic acid. So what is the role of the vitamin B12 and the folic acid in DNA synthesis? You can see in the picture that This is, if you take the dietary folates over here, dietary folates. So dietary folates ultimately make the methyl tetrafolate, and the methyl tetrafolate, with the help of vitamin B12, it converted into the tetrahydrofolate, which forms the methylene tetrafolate, and ultimately it makes the uh, thymidine monophosphate, and that helps in the DNA synthesis. So, yeah, so with the help of the vitamin B12, the folic acid helps in the synthesis of the DNA. There is another function of the vitamin B12, that is it converts the homocysteine into methionine, that you have to know, because if someone has a vitamin B12 deficiency, then there can be elevation in the homocysteine level and there will decrease in methionine level. So if someone has the decrease in methionine level, that methionine ultimately make the helps in formation of the lipids for the myelin. So if someone has the vitamin B12 deficiency, then there can be a problem in the myelins of the neurons. So the take home message from this picture is that vitamin B12 and the folic is required for the DNA synthesis, one. Second is vitamin B12 is also required for the formation of the methionine, which helps in the production of the myelin. So let us go to the clinical picture of megaloblastic anemia. The clinical picture of megaloblastic anemia are asymptomatic, like patients just visit the medical OPD, and when they do the peripheral smear, they see the megaloblast, and after working up, then the physician make a diagnosis of megaloblastic anemia. It is not necessary that all the patient have the symptoms. So if some patient may have the symptoms of anemia, and if you examine properly, we can see the atrophic glossitis over here. This is the atrophic glossitis. Okay, this is atrophic glossitis, the beefy tongue. And some patient may have anorexia and feature of weight loss. And especially in a patient with vitamin B12 deficiency, they can give you the history of peripheral neuropathy, like they can give the history of a tingling sensation, numbness, they can give the history of ataxia, like that, okay? And some of the patient can have the feature of the subacute combined degeneration of the spinal cord, okay? So, if the pregnant lady is deficient of the vitamin B12 and the folic acid, so the child is going to have the neural tube defect. That's why we need to supplement the folic acid to the pregnant lady. Okay, otherwise they are going to have the neural tube defect. So one of the feature of the vitamin B12 is some patient can have the psychosis, feature of the psychosis. Okay. So how we are supposed to work up? So first of all, after doing the hemoglobin estimation, we are first supposed to see the peripheral smears. The clue is, you can see this is the megaloblast. This is not normal cell. This is the RBCs, which size is like larger ones. So these are the megaloblasts, and the shape of this megaloblast is the oval. It's the macrocytes. Okay, this is the oval macrocytes. And we can see the segmented, hyper-segmented neutrophils. So uh, there is pencil shaped shape. There is different RBC size. There are different RBC shape. That is what we call the anisocoiculocytosis. There is a macrocytes. There is hyper-segmented neutrophils. These are the findings that we see in the peripheral smear. Similarly, that is what I'm trying to explain you. And if bone marrow is often not required in a patient with megaloblastic anemia, but if you do the bone marrow for other reasons, like suspecting aplastic or leukemias, then in a patient with megaloblastic anemia, we see the hypercellular bone marrow. You can see the hypercellular bone marrow and megaloblast over here. Okay, you can see that these are the megaloblast, and there is hypercellular bone marrow. Why the size of the cells is large? Because when you do not produce the DNA, then it cannot divide. So if it can't divide, then the size of this RBC will be large. That is what we call the megaloblast. So another laboratory parameters we can do is to check the level of vitamin B12 deficiency. So up 200 is above 200 is the normal limit. 100 to 200 is the borderline, and less than 100 is the severe deficiency. We can check this vitamin B12 in our day-to-day clinical practice. So other markers for the vitamin B12 is, as I have already told, there can be elevation of homocysteine and methylmalonate. These are the supportive finding to diagnose the vitamin B12 deficiency. Similarly, we can also estimate the folate level. The normal folate level is 2 to 15, and we can see whether it is normal or abnormal or deficient. Okay, we can check that. So how we are supposed to treat the cobalamin deficiency? If someone has the cobalamin deficiency, we prefer giving the injection cyanocobalamin. This is one of the form of the vitamin B12, and the dose is 1000 microgram. Route is we give mostly IM. The frequency is we give just once daily dose for the 7 day, then weekly for 1 month, and then monthly for 12 months. This is the dose, especially for the patient with pernicious anemia. But if someone is vegan, and they can also take the oral form. Okay. Similarly, if someone is having folate deficiency, then we are supposed to give the folate of dose 5 to 15 mg. We usually give the dose of 5 mg, and usually for 3 to 4 months duration. Okay, that will suffice if folate storage. I think this is the end of this presentation. I think you have understood something about the megaloblastic anemia. Megaloblastic anemia is the condition where there is anemia with the large RBC precursor in the bone marrow. The two important causes are vitamin B12 and the folic acid deficiency. Vitamin B12 deficiency can occur if someone is having the, like if someone is having the vegan diet, if someone has having the pernicious anemia, if someone has the total gastrectomy or bariatric surgery or ileal resections. Folic deficiency occurs in a patient like pregnancy or chronic hemolytic anemia, or in hemodialysis patient, nutrient deficiency they can have. The common clinical picture of this megaloblastic anemia is they can have the feature of the anemia, they can have weight loss, they can have anorexia. But the symptom that is peculiar to the vitamin B12 deficiency is the peripheral neuropathy and subacute combined degeneration. You can do the different lab tests. In the lab tests, in the peripheral smear, we see the oval macrocytes. We can see the hypersegmented neutrophils, anisocoilocytosis. We can also estimate the level of the vitamin B12 and folic acid, and we have to supplement the vitamin B12 and folic acid as per the need. Thank you. Thank you for your kind attention. If you have any problem in this topic, you can write in the comment section. I'm happy to answer your comment. Okay, thank you. We'll meet tomorrow with another new presentation. Thank you.